Okay, right. I've just seen some article going around which is quoting Ecotricity regarding their obviously recent changes. They're defending the changes and sticking with the £5 and the 20 minutes by the looks of it. But they are fitting modems to each of the charge stations to basically guarantee you being able to connect to those charge stations. Presumably that only applies one way, so they'll have a signal, but so if you haven't got a signal, that's kind of tough still. But seem to be saying that the stations will always be connected, I think is what they're implying from that. So the charge stations will always be connected. So if there's an issue with a connection, it's either their server, as far as I can see, or your own data provider. So anyway, there you go, that covers that little bit off. Still doesn't mean you're going to be able to connect, but we will test it over the coming months. We're in Sainsbury's. Ruby, don't run across the road. And there's another leaf there. Oh, cool. Also worth noting that they've changed the format now. So it's £6 for 30-minute sessions. So they changed it from £5 for 20 minutes to £6 for 30. So the complaint where people will actually be paying £10 has gone away now, and it's actually cheaper, obviously, per kilowatt, if you were to work it out that way, than it was before. So they've changed that bit of it. So there you go. Damn. Nail in the tyre. Okay, time to have a look at getting these little beasts replaced. Slightly bad. Slightly. There's the other one. So this is what happens when you hammer it all the time. Look how bad that is. It's really bad. So here to change them out. I've had before. I have this one's Joy Road HP RXBs. So yeah, let's see if we can get these changed out. And here she rolls off. Puncture repaired and 2 new front tyres. There we go. Not me driving, obviously. Brand new tyres. Wow. New tyres. New ones. Lovely. Done. What have I gone for? Avons again. Morning. Right. Wow. What a couple of weeks it's been. So doing another video update. I haven't really got to show about the car or anything like that. But the Ecotricity fiasco, interesting one. I think. Well, that is such a monumental shake-up of what everyone's used to. That, including myself, of course. That, oh man, the comments just been endless. Every day, comments. Twitter, YouTube, it's just been, yeah, wow. And it's I wouldn't say it's massive, it's divided. Opinion is divided, but not 50-50. There's a few hardcores that I would say is probably 30%, something like that, that think it's absolutely fine, and then there's another percentage, whatever that might be, that think, yeah, it's good, but maybe a little bit expensive. And then there's people that think it's not enough time, it should be 40 minutes. You know, some people think there should be a lesser charge for 15 minutes to allow a quick top up. So it's pretty much endless, the amount of different combinations that people want. It does show that no matter what Ecotricity do, it will cause problems for a percentage of people because it's not what they require. So since we last spoke, I mean, I've had a lot of people, I can't reply to all the comments. A lot of people go, you do realise in terms and conditions it's 52 charges. And I go, yeah, I know that, but I can't keep responding. I think I've responded to a couple of people saying, yeah, aware of that, but I keep getting told it every day. So that's, yeah, 52 charges things. Let's tackle that then, shall we? 52 charges. That is not excessive use, is it? Let's be honest, there's no way you can categorise that as excessive use. So the way I'd put it, again, this is a completely personal thing. tailored to me. But I go to Bristol to pick up some parcels. I do that to stop a diesel van coming down and delivering my parcels, and to save 20 to 40 pounds. Okay, so if I have to now pay for that, some might say, well, that's fair enough, you're getting it free before on Ecotricity's behalf. Fine, okie dokie. But I am an Ecotricity customer, and I know I pay more for my electric from Ecotricity than, say, Sainsbury's or British Gas or whoever. They're much more expensive than any of the other providers out there. And I only did that really out of a sense of the fact that I thought, well, I'm getting all these free rapid charges. Really, I should put back into the system that's feeding me, as it were. So that's what I've done. I've done that for a year and a half, 2 years. Only one person mistook my last video as joy, or was it not joy? It wasn't joy. He mistook it as gloating, I think it was. Something like that words. But it wasn't. It was joy that I wasn't going to be charged. It wasn't laughing at the people who were going to get charged. It was because a massive sigh of relief for me, overpaying for the last year and a half, 2 years, thinking that, oh my goodness, now charges come in, and it wasn't. But the 52 charges, I go to Bristol once a week, as I'm saying, that requires 2 charges. If I go from work, which is only about 6 miles away, requires 2 charges. So I travel from home now, and I have done for quite some time, to miss out that first charge. So I only have to charge coming back. So as you may gather, 52 charges, that's 1 a week. So I can do that trip to Bristol for a whole year. What I cannot do then is any other charges at all for free. I say free, but I'm an Ecotricity customer, so I'm paying over the odds. So I can't do any more charges above and beyond that. Now, I would have said that's quite a pathetic little journey. It's 40 miles to Bristol and 40 miles back, so 80-mile round trip. It's motorway, so you can't do it without charging, well, unless you went 30 miles an hour. And so it's just, I would class that as just a normal trip, and quite a small one at that. It's not actually, in terms of mileage, it's not beyond what this Leaf is supposed to be able to do. So that cannot be classed as excessive use, unless you're saying you should only do one of those journeys once a month. And that's how they've done it. So I'm not sure how they've got the 52. I really don't know that at all. My thinking is it should be something like 500 charges, and then it becomes excessive use. So internet broadband, if there's an example, is 1,000 gig is where they deem it, well, you're doing something you shouldn't be doing now, and that would be classed as excessive use. And I'm looking at my contract. So anyway, and I've got unlimited data. 1,000 gigs a lot. So something along those lines, that, you know, if you're using it more than 500 times, which a taxi firm would do during a period of a year, that would stop them completely. Well, for the 500 of them, if they're a Ecotricity customer. But secondly, it is, my mum and dad are on Ecotricity, but under a business account. He's got his own business, and he is an Ecotricity customer. Has been, I think I switched actually after him. So, and he's had a look into it, and he's not entitled to any free charges because he's a business customer, so he doesn't even get the 52. And to switch, of course, costs a lot more money. So I'm not sure what they're doing, don't know. I'm torn between just switching away from Ecotricity completely and then paying for the rapids when I need them. But what I'm going to do, just for the sake of this blog, is stick with it and see what it's like for a few months and see if I utilise those. I mean, the other thing is, that trip, so I do that trip once a week, that takes up to my limit, which is a bit crazy, to be honest. But the side to that is, if I was doing that, if I was travelling to Bristol every day, what concerns me is that people will have bought these electric cars, all will have about the same range, a Zoe or a Leaf, until longer range ones comes out. They would have bought them for people like me living where I am now to travel to Bristol and back again. And now the £6, they will have to charge, say, twice, unless they live exactly where I am and they can happen to get to where they're going and back again. But say they charge once, but they do it daily. I mean, I would have bought this Leaf if I wouldn't have thought twice about travelling to Bristol, in terms of if I was working there. So unless they can charge at work, I suppose it's something I have to push for, I would have bought one based on that premise. If I'd seen my videos, I would have bought one to go to Bristol and back again. But it is a little bit naive, as it were, because they've always said they're going to charge. It's not like they said, oh, it's going to be free for life. They always said they were going to charge. So it shouldn't come as a massive surprise that they're charging, but what I say, a percentage of people are completely surprised by it, didn't realise they're actually going to do it. That's a small percentage of those people. And then the other people are saying, well, it's too much for too short a time, is the biggest complaint, basically, in a nutshell. There's a whole host of things. Still cheaper than, in terms of money, pure money, still cheaper just to go buy the Leaf. But what completely wipes that out is the amount of time it takes. It adds hours to your journey. So going to Bristol and back again, 2 charges, is approximately 30 minutes each one. So that's an hour added to a journey which is 40 miles and 80 round trip. So you wouldn't, I wouldn't bother. I wouldn't go now, for instance, if it's not going to be free or less than £6. So £3 would be perfectly acceptable. But £6 to go down to Cornwall, I just wouldn't do it. Just wouldn't do it. In this Leaf, wouldn't do it. It's just not worth the hassle. I'll just go in the diesel, pin it down to Cornwall, you know, job done. Pretty much purely based on the time versus cost. Before it tipped the balance completely because it was 100% free, so it was quite easy to go, well, hang a minute, if I go down to Cornwall, yes, it will add hours onto my journey, but then it saved me 70 quid or whatever it is. You know, it's a substantial amount of money. But no, shouldn't be getting it free. Nothing's free, so shouldn't be getting it free. The other thing is, a few Tesla moaners complaining. A lot of Tesla people have commented, not necessarily complaining, but they're obviously against it. Everyone seems to be pretty typically against it. It's a very small percentage. They're actually, totally for it, happy with it. And so about those, if you bought a Tesla, you've pretty much paid for your free charging as a premium on top of the car cost. No way of proving that, I don't think, unless someone's actually specifically announced that. But as far as I know, it isn't free because nothing's free. So that's built into the price of the car, isn't it? I would guesstimate about £2,000 built into that. So, and suddenly, of course, you can't, unless you're an Ecotricity customer and you only do 52. There's no point in, and because of the time limit, there's no point in Tesla's using it. Particularly, you'll get some charge. So there's complaints there, but then of course the answer is, well, Tesla should have got their finger out really and actually put infrastructure in faster than they're currently doing. They got themselves to blame. They're advertised. They are a company solely. I mean, Ecotricity have done this, as far as I can see, as almost a hobby, as a bit of a sideline. Really, does Dale Vince need to put in electric rapid car chargers? No, he does. He doesn't. He certainly doesn't. He doesn't need to do any of that. He can retire now. So it's kind of just a bit of a hobby, bit of fun, really. And yeah, a bit of a pain in the ass if it's all free. And they ain't going to generate massive amounts of money from it, are they? Not really. Not in comparison to producing electricity and whatever ventures he's involved in. So, side note. But Tesla, their whole business model revolves around the fact that you've got to be able to actually use these cars on the road. So Nissan's going to suffer badly if they don't interject to do something, or Ecotricity don't adjust it somehow. But in terms of Tesla, they should have got on with it. Should have done it. Whatever obstacles there are, and whatever reasons they may think they are or make excuses for, at the end of the day, if you can't charge your Tesla while you're driving along, because I mean, for instance, if I was to get a Tesla, my closest supercharger is let's just see if it's actually recording. It's a load of notifications coming up. My closest supercharger is Birmingham or Bristol. Yeah, you got the longer range, but to be fair, Ecotricity points, there's 4 in 20-mile radius, and they're in actually convenient places. So I might assume that then eventually all the charges will be there, but they're not there at the moment. So Tesla owners that complain about Ecotricity now charging and it not being long enough for them, that's kind of Tesla's fault. They should just got on with it, really. They do the whole package. Tesla does the whole package. They do the superchargers. They sell the cars. They need the superchargers to sell the cars, and they need the cars to use the superchargers. So they should just pull their finger out and got on with that. That's themselves to blame. So lobby them. Don't blame Ecotricity. Get them to actually put alongside Ecotricity charge points superchargers. And at that point, a lot of people will be switching to Tesla, I would have thought. But of course there is a 200-mile Leaf coming out. When? No one knows. Presumably before the Model 3, I would imagine. So that probably will be my next one. Unless, of course, the Model 3 comes out before. Or some other thing. So what else have I got to say on it, really? Not a lot, I don't think. I think that's pretty much it. It's very divisive, which I'm not up for. I'm not up for arguing it. I've got no interest in arguing back and forth. People complaining at Tesla, you know, they should have done this, they should have done that. There's people complaining Ecotricity shouldn't charge for charging. They shouldn't charge that amount. People moaning at them because they took grants and put superchargers in. Everything like that. I'm not up for that, really. I'm going to go with it and roll with it. Would I have bought the car if it's £6 to charge? I think it would have been a serious consideration if there was that sort of fee involved. I probably would have been highly put off by it. But at that point, the education on these things was pretty much non-existent. There was hardly any information out there, because I didn't, if you watched the first episode, I didn't even know you needed cards to do charging. Didn't have a clue. So at that point, I didn't even know. I went into it completely blindly. So yeah, now it'd make a big difference. Now people know about that charge. There's people saying they are completely put off by it. But to fall back on my original thing, last night I charged at home. Today I'm not going to charge out at all, and I probably won't charge out apart from the Bristol trip, which I'm not doing today. I just don't use it. I mean, literally the only time I use a supercharger is that Bristol trip, and I use one a week. So 99% of the time I'm just charging from home. It isn't an issue. I'm charging on economy 7 at home. So I suppose that's what you need to weigh up. Speaking to mum and dad about it, it's the same thing. They do a trip once in a blue moon to a charger, and they're constantly using it. They're constantly using it, and they're constantly charging it at home. And their mileage is catching up with me, you know, and they bought it a long time after me. So they're using it a lot. It's not like they're pottering around doing 8,000 miles a year. They're clocking up 35, 36,000, something like that. Mike, who uses his, he charges at home almost all the time. He's done more miles than me, and hasn't had it as long. And so his is total home use. So he's done 41,000, 42,000, something like that. You know, so if you just focus in on that £6 charge for 30 minutes and that'll only get you X amount of miles, it's hopeless. Yeah, it might be for those long journeys. Perhaps it is. Perhaps it is. To be proven over the next 6 months of ownership. At the moment, it's all a bit knee-jerk. But otherwise, all my trips are completely unaffected by it. It makes no difference to me whatsoever. So, there you go. That's my thoughts on it. Obviously, comment below, because you might as well. It's very interesting. I've got no problems with anyone's opinion, really. I might not agree with it. I've got no problems with your opinions. So comment below. And obviously a lot of you have been arguing between yourselves. Conversations come up, it's like boom, 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 boom. And you just see it popping up all the time. It's good though, because you get a good rounded opinion of what the majority think. So, I mean, majority, I would have said, are not for the exact model they've got now. My personal opinion, as I say, I think it should be free for Ecotricity customers. I think that limit should be 500. I think that seems reasonable. And in terms of cost, I mean, they've benchmarked against other stuff, and I think it would be nice if they went under what other people are charging. Robert Llewellyn from Fully Charged and Red Door fame, he's going to do a video on Ecotricity, and I'm waiting for that to come up. And it would be, I would encourage you to go and subscribe to his channel and then go and have a look at that video when it goes up. It's not up yet. Now, he's been there. It's very local to us. He's local to me, and Ecotricity is local to us. They're in Stroud, and that's only, whatever it is, 20 miles away. So he's been down there, and he's done a full interview. And obviously, now speaking to them, you could say, well, they're only going to put their side across, which is obviously true, but they also do know what they're talking about. So I'm hoping in there is some nuggets of information. For instance, there could be massive costs associated that we know nothing about whatsoever. There's got to be a reason for getting to that figure. £6 does seem high. It would be great if they could undercut everyone else and be the cheapest on the market, so at least they cover their costs. Because I say, if it is really a bit of a hobby, a bit of a sideline, not taken massively seriously, then it would be nice if they cover costs and did that. You ask, you know, and then covering costs as in paying people's wages to maintain them, etc. Cover everything, every single cost associated with it, so they make no losses whatsoever in any regard. That would be pretty cool. That would be a good thing to do. Would I want to do it? No, because I don't want to make some money on it. But that would be great if they could undercut it. But £6, so say £4 would be, seems good for 30 minutes. So let's just see what they do and see what develops over the next 6 months. In regards to what I do, I'm going to run it for 3 to 6 months and see if it's cost effective. If I use up, it's calculating if I'm going to use up all my charges, the 52, and if they don't change that, then I may consider switching away from Ecotricity and then paying for when I do need the rapid charger, the small number of times a year. So yes, right, it's going to be one of the hottest days today in the UK apparently, 32 degrees Celsius. That's what it's supposed to tip at. We'll find out. See you later.
Blind as a bat, she hasn't noticed her wiper. What's the matter? Put the other one up? Oh, down.